Hey, party people. It's Thursday, and we know what that means. It is time for Tea Talk Thursday. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really wasn't going to do this today because mentally, I'm drained. I'm exhausted. I am tired of having the same questions, not getting answers, feeling unappreciated, just so much. But I thought about it and I said, well, if I'm feeling this way, you guys are probably feeling some of the same way as well. And maybe we should talk about it. And maybe that will help us all figure out what our next step should be. Don't worry, that's not COVID. It was something in my throat. Um, yeah, like maybe an open dialogue will help us break down some of what we're feeling and what we can do to move forward. Because we can't keep being in this space. I don't know about you guys, but it's draining. I'm tired. Yesterday, my daughter got in a car and I didn't even like know what to say because as I'm thinking about it, I'm looking at her and I'm like, this could have been you, an innocent victim. Okay, so let me go back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tea Talk Thursday. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Tamika. I am the mouth of IG at Tamika Talks and the thought leader at Life and Pops. Tea Talk today is literally something I put together for us to have organic conversations about current. Oftentimes you'll come here, there'll be a guest. Sometimes it's not. It's just me and you. And the goal is for us to talk about what we're feeling and everything that's going on. So let's get started. All right. First thing I have to say, I keep saying this on everything, and I would be remiss if I did not say it again. Register to vote. Don't only register to vote, but I need you to make a plan to vote. Figure out, how are you getting to the poll? Are you voting early? Are you doing the mail-in ballot? Like, I need you to have a game plan and be ready to kind of put it into motion. Okay, that's the first thing. So wherever you are, I need you to look at your state's county of electors website, figure out when your early voting starts. No, let's go back. Figure out and confirm that you are actually registered to vote, because there's been a lot of things going on. So confirm that you are registered to vote. Confirm your polling place, because some of them have changed and a lot of things are going on. If your goal is to vote in person November 3rd, or if you guys have early voting, make a plan for that. Make sure you have enough masks. Literally go to the polls with a chair, sanitizer, snacks, water, anything that you think you can need, an umbrella, because chances are you might be standing in line. But that's okay. Stand in line. Make your voice heard. So I need you to be prepared for all of that. Make all of that part of your plan. If you're doing the mail-in ballot, here in Pennsylvania, they track our ballot. And I told you guys last week, I was not going to do a mail-in ballot because I wasn't trusting it. I had a lot of apprehensions about it. But then it occurred to me, I don't really know what's going to be happening come November. And I probably need to make sure that I get my ballot in. In addition, my goal come November 3rd is to volunteer at the polls, help other people get there. So I don't want to be stressed out worrying about casting my own vote when I'm trying to help others. So that's part of the other thing. So if you guys have mail-in ballots, please take advantage of that. If you don't want to trust the mail system, I know the mailbox being moved and all that, you can physically take your ballot once you put it in both envelopes, follow the directions, because the goal is to get it tricked up, and if you don't follow the directions exactly, your vote is null and void. So follow the directions, and then you want to make sure that you take to your county electors. For me, it's the courthouse. So I am physically going to place mine in the courthouse. Last year, I took all these pictures of it, which I know I shouldn't have because it's technically illegal. I just kind of needed proof, but they do send you an email letting you know that they've received it. So read up on it, ask questions, but don't not be a part of the process, okay? Then I want to remind you that yesterday, I'm going to actually read a statement here. So yesterday, in 1955, an all-white Mississippi jury acquitted J.W. Milam and Roy Bryant, no relation, of murdering Emmett Till after deliberating for only 67 minutes. One juror told a reporter that they wouldn't have taken so long if they hadn't stopped to drink Cokes. Milan and Bryant stood before photographers, lit up cigars, and kissed their wives in celebrations of the not guilty verdict. Later, they admitted to a magazine that they had indeed killed Till. So let that sink. This just happened in 1955, right? Yesterday at 1:30, we received a crazy verdict. And, a lot of people have been commenting and saying, you know, why are you surprised? Like, what did you expect? And honestly, I knew something was awry. One, when they gave her family $12 million. I'm sorry, there is no amount of money that is acceptable for the murder of my child. Okay, so at first I feel like I need to say that. Second, when they started locking down the city, I knew what was awry. And I watched it and I prayed. I prayed before I watched it and I said, please prove me wrong. Please show me that there is some value to the Black woman, that you want to stand up for them. You want to protect them, you want to support them. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. I mean, literally, Black people, especially women, I think right now we are beyond traumatized, because basically we've just been shown that we can be killed by the people that we pay taxes to protect and serve us, basically. We can be killed in our own home for doing nothing and no one be held accountable. Like, how do you move past that? I really don't know. I don't know. And that's why I'm talking to you guys. Because if you have ideas and things, we need them, because I don't know. I don't know. But what I do want us to do is to examine the facts. Okay. So as all this was unfolding, I had really been reading about it, because one, I couldn't believe that it was going to take this long for somebody to be prosecuted. And I kept saying, something's going on that we just don't know about. And I still believe that. I still believe there are some facts that we have not been privy to. And truthfully, until we get the transcript of what was presented to the grand jury, we really don't know. So everyone is mad at the AG, which is what happens. I mean, it's his job. And, we're feeling like he went in there, him and his partner went in there and they presented to the grand jury, but not in the respect of protecting Breonna Taylor, not looking to have someone be accountable for her murder. Because when you come out and what you're saying is wanton endangerment, basically these men were charged with shooting walls. The one guy who got the charge is literally the scapegoat. And basically, he's going to take all the charges. There's so many details that we just don't know. So I've been writing, I've been, trying to figure out. And I said, part of the reason how we got here, one, is because we don't know what was presented. And I think everybody should really realize that plays a huge role in what was presented versus what actually happened. And until we get the transcript, and I'm not sure if the cops had body cams on. I'm going to say no, because I feel like we would have been asking for them, but neither here nor there. All right, so let's talk about this. We already know that they were looking to serve, well, no, not looking. They were serving a no-knock warrant. We don't need to talk about no-knock warrants, because we already know that is apparently a law that they are trying to make, that just does not happen anymore, which is a good thing. So we don't need to talk about no-knock warrants. But where the facts become shaky is the cops say they knocked. Someone else said they didn't. So that's another fact that I don't know that we'll ever really know what really happened. What we do know is apparently there was some banging on the door. Well, we don't even know there was some banging. Allegedly, there was some banging on the door. The boyfriend thought that somebody was trying to break in. So he's shot. Okay. So let's just think about this in reference here. So you're trying to break into my house. I have a license to carry. So I shoot my gun, right? It goes through the door and it hits somebody, right? They in turn just let loose, like all their bullets they had in their gun. Did they talk about that? Because I watch a lot of cop shows. Like I am enamored with them. Like I can't help it. So, just that's probably the reason why I'm always reading all these cases and things. And when you watch them, rarely do you see where like if someone shot at them, are they like unloading all their gun, unloading everything into a door where they really can't see what's on the other side. You understand what I'm saying? And so we got to look at that. The other thing is, now they're trying to talk to the judge who actually signed the warrant to see what was involved and what was the conversation. Now that I feel like is going to be a gray area because once again, if you watch shows, if you talk to cops or whatever, oftentimes, they're going to kind of do whatever they do to get the warrant. I'm not really concerned about them getting a warrant. I'm really not. Like if they felt like something was going on there, fine. And what a lot of people have been saying is that her name was not on the warrant. Apparently her name was on the warrant. Which leads me to try to figure out where did we get to this place of it was the wrong address. Okay. And so then the other thing is I saw today where someone was saying that she was murdered in her bed, but apparently they found her body in the hallway. So you see where I'm saying where the facts are gray. And until we get the actual facts, we're still going to be kind of in this crazy space. Okay. So basically, yes. So as I stated, the officers returned their fire. Apparently they shot more than 20 rounds. 20 rounds. So 20 rounds literally means I'm trying to kill who's ever in there. Like, I don't even know what's going on. And that's not okay. So she was struck multiple times. And that's why I said apparently she died in the hallway and not in her bedroom. So once again, that's another fact that we're not clear on. They did not find any drugs in her property. So we should also be very clear on that. There were no drugs found in her property. However, what they're stating is they have records that show that the ex-boyfriend who they were looking for, in fact, stated that he left things at her house. Now, my understanding is he left things at her house, and I believe that technically he was already in jail. He was already in jail, and they had been questioning him, and the goal was really to go to the house to find the drugs, and I guess, quote unquote, I don't know if he put her name in it, and that's how her name ended up being on the warrant. So, we gotta put all those pieces together to kind of figure out how we got here. So he said apparently that he had drugs delivered to her house. You know how that works. How do you get drugs delivered? Like, were they mailed? And then we have the Postmaster General saying, well, we never said that we're saying that something was mailed there. See, facts. Lots of facts here. Not wrong. Let's see. There's another one. The whole thing about going to the wrong apartment. If her name was in fact on the warrant, then they went to the right apartment, right? You see, we don't really know. Hence another issue. And part of the problem is we have so many people trying to drive their own narrative to this. And I think that we got to look at the facts. And no matter what, we do need to be clear that Breonna Taylor was murdered and no one is going to be held accountable for her death. Like that right now, that's where we are. That's where we are. That does not change. No matter what the facts are, that does not change. She did not have a gun. There was no gun residue on her. None of that. Okay. Let's see. Right. But then we see that they were saying that it was the wrong address and the real suspect was in custody. So I'm not clear on what they were doing or who they were looking for. So I have been like scouring everywhere, hoping that I would be able to see, transcripts or whatever of that case. I'm assuming that they've been taken down because normally a lot of that is public record. I did see today that her attorney is requesting copies of the transcripts. And I guess at that point we will get to see what was actually on the warrant, because the concern is that the attorney general went before the grand jury. Well, not even him, because I understand that it wasn't him. It was somebody who works in his office. He went before the grand jury and basically was not asking for them to punish someone for murdering her. Hence the reason why we got to this point where we are, where basically the charge is that the officer fired blindly and his bullets went through some walls, right? Not her walls. Okay, we should be clear. Not her walls. This officer is being charged with literally just shooting and endangering the lives of other people. Now, today, I have not been able to fact check this to see how clear this is and how true this is, but I am going to look it up. Is that the apartments that they're claiming he endangered the lives of were white people. Mind you, there are black people in this apartment, but I guess it didn't matter for them. It only mattered for the white people. So I don't know. I'm going to totally look into this today. And as I get more information, I will share what I find. But like I said, I think it's very important that we fact check this because we want to know and make sure that we're being angry for the right thing. Okay. So, okay, let's look at some of these comments we're getting here. So Sharon is saying she lives in Richmond, Virginia, and if anybody needs a ride to the polls, look her up. Thank you, Sharon. That is amazing of you. So once again, if you are in the Richmond, Virginia area and you need a ride to the polls, she got you. And if you can't find her, reach out to me and I'll put you in connection with some other people in other states, no matter where you are. If you need a ride to the polls, reach out to me. There's a group of people that this is what they're doing. They're getting people rides to the polls or even helping people fill out their mail-in ballot should you need assistance with that. So then we have someone who just logged on named John Dockin. I don't know him, but he's on YouTube and he's saying that she wasn't murdered. I would love to know why you would say she wasn't murdered and what you consider that, because she didn't shoot anybody. She didn't have a gun. She was inside her house, minding her business. I don't care if she was in her house getting drugs, smoking, doing whatever it is she could have been doing. Although none of that was proven, they found no drugs or anything on her system. How was she not murdered? I'll keep talking, and when you figure out the answer, please comment because I want to know, and I'm sure other people who are watching who also think she was murdered want to know as well. Totally waiting for that. Okay, so I'm reading here some of the facts and things that I've been writing down, and it basically is talking about the search warrant. It said it did include her street address, apartment number, and photos of her apartment door, which is what the police, used to break into with the RAM thing that they charged. And then it says her name, birthday, social security number are on the warrant alongside the names of the main targets for the investigation. So there were two people, none of which are related. Okay. So one, of course, was already in custody. Okay. So John Dockin is saying that because her boyfriend fired first, it is considered self-defense. So what I'd like for you to do is to read the rules of the right to bear arms, especially in Kentucky, in my own home. He was in his house. They did not identify themselves as police. They used the RAM to to basically knock in the door. That's not self-defense. And then let's just say, for sake of argument, that it is allegedly supposed to be self-defense because that's not one of the things that was put up for why they shot. So let me be clear on that. Nowhere have I read that anywhere. Do you need to release 20 rounds and call it self-defense? So I want you to think about that. I mean, let me know. I'm still here. I'll keep going. Let's see. Right. So basically they're stating that it was intended for them to be there. Like I said, the warrant had all this information on it. Now, it said that the police located their main suspect before going to her house. Okay. Now, there's been a lot of things who have said. Now, I didn't know about the second guy initially. I only knew about the first guy, but apparently he was in custody. So what that sounds like to me is they're not checking their records. So I'm not understanding why, if a warrant was released for somebody that's already in jail, why didn't that even come up as a flag? I don't know. I don't work in that thing. Oh, look at that. Here we go. John has lots to say. I'm loving it. He said they knocked on the door, a no-knock warrant. Okay. I didn't dispute that. I didn't dispute that there was a no-knock warrant. But if I'm at home in my house and I have the right to bear arms and you kick in my door and don't identify yourself, I have the right to shoot you. Are we in agreement about that? I have the right to shoot you, right? Right. But then if you shoot back, right? If you shoot back, do you then release 20 rounds? That's the part I'm unclear on. Like, if you wanted to shoot back, shoot back. But do you need to release 20 rounds? Like, more than 20 rounds. Okay? So he's saying that they went to the house to get evidence. They did 4 raids that night. Okay. All right. That's fine. Like, okay, right. You know, they're stating that they believe that there were drugs in the house. All of that. I hear, okay, I don't have an issue with that. As I stated, do you need to release 20 rounds? Because to me, it sounds like you were shot at and you were scared. So that's what you did. And I get it. It's a dangerous job. I would never want it. I have so much respect for good cops who do their job and do their jobs well. But I don't think you needed to shoot 20 rounds into a space that you didn't even know where you were. Why not back out and call backup or do whatever? Like, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so he's saying the police have a right to defend themselves. They absolutely do have a right to defend themselves. And according to, in Kentucky, he had the right to bear arms, which means he had the right to defend himself as well. So if I'm asleep or whatever, I don't even gotta be asleep. It could be noon like it is right now here, and I'm at home and someone busts through my door. I have every right to shoot. And if it's the police, one, you should identify yourself as you're kicking in my door. But two, do you then have the right to shoot 20 rounds? Like, let's look at the facts. Like, clearly, if you are afraid, that's when you're just going to release your gun. But you're the police. Not that you shouldn't be afraid, because, you know, nowadays you probably should. But then you back away. There has to be better tactics that could have handled this. All right. So Sai is saying she didn't have a gun. She absolutely didn't. You're right. She had no gun. There was no gun residue on her. There are no charges against her for a gun. None of that. Like, she had no criminal record. No criminal record. She just associated or dated or whatever you want to call it with some other people who had records. Absolutely. And what I want to know is if the property is in my name only, how then do you have the right to come in, kicking in my door, looking for someone? And where did you get this information from that this person was here? I have a lot of questions that I know I will probably never, ever get the answer to. Okay, so here, John is saying, if you only have 20 rounds, then you let off only 20 rounds. Really? You don't find that excessive? You don't find that excessive? Because not only, first of all, you're shooting 20 rounds, okay, into an apartment, right? Which is the reason, let me be clear. This is what he's charged with. He shot 20 rounds. They shot 20 rounds, or however many rounds he shot. I can't remember the actual number right now. He shot all these rounds, and they went into this area. You saw the door. It's not a very wide space. So she shot back. So you just opened fire. You don't care, with no regards to the fact that there's an apartment literally right next door, and then there are others around. We know that the shooting is excessive. So there's nothing that you're going to say that's going to change that. If there was only one shot fired, you do not need to return with 20. I'm sorry. I'm never, ever going to agree with you on that. They have a right to eliminate a threat. I'm not saying they didn't have a right to eliminate a threat, but if one shot is only fired, you then shoot 20, that math will never add up to me. I'm sorry. It's just never going to add up to me. So he's saying her name was on the warrant. You're right. Absolutely. Because initially that is not what was stated. Her name was absolutely on the warrant. Okay. Her name was on. I said that in the beginning. Her name is on the warrant. I am not disputing that. You're saying it was not excessive. We're just never going to agree on that. So I don't know what you want, but we are never, ever going to agree on that. There was no reason for them to have shot 20 times blind, because that's what they did. They shot blind. But anywho, let's move on. So, like I stated, the one guy had already been located and was identified prior to the warrant being executed at her house. So basically, they just didn't do their due diligence in doing that. Let me see. There's another statement thing that I wanted to say. Right. So they said apparently her apartment. So here we go with the excessive shooting. Her apartment was considered a soft target with minimal threat, meaning they didn't think she had a gun. They just thought she had drugs. Excessive? No, it is what it is. But what I want people to do is I want you to get the facts. I want you to look at the actual facts. Oh, look at this. Wait, here is, I found an actual, I found an actual copy of the property seizure thing. And then this article that I'm reading, it also states that that the citation listed his offense for the guy that was arrested at 12:40 a.m., right? Which is the same time the search warrant was supposed to be executed. So pay attention to the facts, people. Pay attention to the facts. But his arrest was listed at 2:43 a.m., more than 2 hours later. Some of that doesn't make sense. Then they're saying that the police initially recorded the time for the search and the arrest of Glover at midnight, and then later altered it to add 40 minutes, matching the time for the search. There's a lot of facts, people, that don't add up. And that's the issue. That's the issue, and that's what we should be concerned about. The facts don't add up. We don't know what was presented before the grand jury. So we don't even know that they've seen any of these facts when they made the decision that they made. That's all I'm saying, guys. We can't, I don't even know what we can't do at this point, guys. We should be angry. We should. I'm glad that they have put forth motions to change this law so that no longer will the police be issuing no-knock warrants, because it's not okay. Oh, okay. So he said that John is saying that she was a soft target that shot back. Okay. I am not, and here's where I think we just need to agree to disagree. Shooting 20 rounds into a home that you blindly can't see is excessive. Could you have shot 1 or 2 shots if you felt like that's what you needed to do? But why then wouldn't you retreat and back up and maybe say, hey, shots are being fired, call in. Like, there's so many different things that could have happened in that moment. But to release 20 shots, that's excessive. I'm sorry. I am never, ever, ever going to agree with you. You are entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to feel like your opinion is wrong. That's the joy of America, I tell you. But I just want, like I said, us to really take the time to examine the facts. There's going to be a lot of articles coming out now that this indictment has been handed down. Like I said, they're trying to get the transcripts, and hopefully from that, we will really get to see what was presented and to figure out really what our next steps need to be. I've already stated that if you are not registered to vote, you've got to get registered to vote. Deadlines are coming up. I know a few are coming up in the next few weeks, next few days. Please check your state. Make sure that you are on the list to be registered. Make a plan to vote. We can be angry, and we can show our disgust. We can riot. We can protest. We can do all of these things in the street, but none of it matters if we don't exercise our right to vote. We've got to make it known that this is not okay. We are all tired of hashtags, and the fact that it took 150 some days for them to even present and us to get this charge is ridiculous. And for me, it seemed like they were trying to gather evidence. And what I wanted to believe is they were trying to gather evidence to present a strong case. That's what I wanted to believe. But now, after I listened to what he said, that's not what they were doing. And do I think that this officer is going to be found guilty? I don't. I feel like he is uninterested in it. I feel like they're like, we gave the family $12 million. What else do you want? We want justice. That's what we want. We want justice. And I appreciate her mom saying, please don't loot and all of that. She wanted a peaceful protest. I get it. I understand. However, when people are under arrest, this is what happens. We're tired of having to take it to the street, having to protest. We're tired of the crime. We're just tired of all of it. And like I said, the best way that we are going to be able to affect change is by voting. And I don't just necessarily mean for the president. I mean, vote in every election. We ought to be a part of this process. You need to know your candidates, know what they stand for, reach out to your congressmen, your senators, all of that. I mean, it's just too much. Like, I'm over it. Like, I can't. Today I watched the news, and unintentionally, because I had no intention on watching it, I knew it was going to be too much. And I just was like, are we here again? We here again asking these same questions. And then it amazes me how people then try to, blame it on the victim who's been shot, with no gun. Oh, it was her fault. That's why she's dead. How do we do this? How did we get here? And to me, it's all about the fact that we are we are losing our democracy. And I tell you guys this all the time. It's not about political party. It is really about our right. And right now, we aren't exercising our right, and it is about to be taken away from us. I don't know if you guys heard, there was a whole argument that some people that I knew were having because a senator had asked, well, the president is saying that basically, if the votes don't go in his favor, he's not going to concede. How does that make you feel? And somebody like read between the lines and totally put their own bias on it and made it all about downplaying the president and not liking him. Meanwhile, he didn't say any of that. And what I replied is that every political candidate is told not to concede. It is what it is. Like, you don't want to concede until the final numbers are in. But if the numbers are looking at what they are, you should concede. Like, it's okay. Like, for you to say that you're not going to concede and to say it in a way that you say it is about a dictatorship. And I keep saying that, we are at a place where we're in trouble because we are giving a lot of leeway and a lot of opportunities for people to say things. And it is moving into a lack of democracy, and it's about control. And that was the reason why I told you guys last week to not only watch All In: The Fight for Democracy, but to watch Antebellum. Like, it's crazy. Like, it is a fictional story, but I tell you, like, it could be life right now. And I think that if we don't step in and exercise our right to vote, we're headed in that direction. So that's all I have. I just wanted to come before you guys. And like I said, I know everybody is at a place where we are like at disgust yet again. Like we can't believe it. And some people do believe it. And we're just trying to figure out what do we do and how to heal. And for me, the first step in healing is really going to be in voting. Like, I don't want you telling me that you're angry and you're this and you're that and you are eligible to vote and you didn't, because basically your opinion means nothing. Sorry if that offends you, but your opinion means nothing. So I am encouraging everybody, once again, take an active role. Let's talk about it. If you're uncertain about voting or if you have questions, reach out to me. I would be glad to help you, point you in the right direction. But there's no reason for us not to do this. And despite what John Dockin wants to say, Breonna Taylor was murdered. Justice was not served. And apparently it doesn't matter. It is not her fault. She was in her place unarmed. So with that, guys, have a great Thursday. I will see you all next week for Tea Talk Thursday. Just a reminder, if you know some breast cancer survivors, please have them reach out to me, as we're going to be honoring survivors all the month of October, in addition to some other things. And we have some great prizes that we want to give away. But thanks again for joining me. Have a great day. See ya.